Hello, welcome to this new BMC Helix Remedyforce webinar. My name is Jair Ramos, and today we're going to review some of the best practices about reports and dashboards. Remember that if you have any questions, please put those on the chat. We will answer those there. Let's review the agenda for today. First, I'm going to give you a quick overview about reports and dashboards. Then we will do a quick demo. And at the end, we will do a quick troubleshooting session, and also I'm going to give you some tips related to reports and dashboards that might help you. So let's start. Reports give you access to your Salesforce data. You can get your Salesforce data in almost infinite combination, display it in easy to understand formats, and share the resulting insights with others. On the other hand, dashboards help you to visually understand changing business conditions so you can make decisions based on a real-time data you have gathered with reports. Use dashboards to help your users identify trends, sort out quantities, and measure the impact of their activities. So basically, you cannot create a dashboard without a report. So first we need to create the report and then the dashboard. One of the main purposes for this webinar is to show you the new Lightning interface. As you might know, we are moving from Classic to Lightning, and the user interface looks a little bit different, but we have the same options. So I would like to show you how you can create those reports and dashboards using the new Lightning experience. Let's review a business case scenario. The Director of Support Services for Acme Corporation would like to check different metrics related to incidents using dashboards. So he asked to the system administrator of the org to create the following dashboards. The first one is open tickets more than 30 days per staff member. So the second one is closed tickets for each staff and queue for the current quarter. The next one is the current open tickets for each staff member. And the last one is incidents or service requests that are pending for approval. This one is a little bit tricky, but I'm going to show you the workaround the Salesforce provides in order to create this report. As I already mentioned, we're going to create reports in Lightning experience. We will also create report types. I'm going to explain you a little bit more what is a report type. And then we will also create and configure dashboards in the new Lightning experience. Now that we have all the details, let's go to the org and start creating the reports. So in your org, let's go to the reports tab. And here these reports are related to incident service requests. We're going to do it for both. And if you remember, both share the same object. In this case as incident, so let's select the incident object. And here the first thing that we need to do is to clear out the default filters. In this case, we need to change this to all incidents. Click apply. And here you will see the list of all the incidents. And then on the search, we can start adding the fields that we need for this report. And one more thing is, if you will remember, we need the open tickets greater than 30 days. So first we need to select the filter for all the tickets that are opened. Okay, now on the search, we can search for staff because that's a field that we need. So we can do double click and it automatically put it on the report. And also recommend you to have this option checked so you can automatically update the preview. So now let's double click on the staff field and we can start adding more fields if you want. In this case, I'm gonna also add the open date field. So on the search, we can type open and double click. Okay, and now we have the open date. But something that we don't have is the number of days where the incident or the service request has been opened. So a workaround that I always apply, and also that might help you to get the number of days, is to create a formula field. So now let me show you how you can create a formula field for the incident object. Let's go to setup. On the quick find, let's go to objects. Okay, and let's select object manager. And now on the object manager, we need to find the incident object. Click on incident. Now let's go to fields and relationships and let's click new. It is a formula field. Next. Let's provide a name. It's up to you. It will show up on the reports with this label. So in this case, I'm gonna put days open, and the return type, I'm gonna select number. Next. And now we need to create our formula. So here on functions, you should see a formula named today. So let me remove this one, and let's put today minus the open date. So if we go to the incident fields, let's select open date, and let's click on check syntax. As you can see, we are getting an error message. It means that today is a date field and open date is a date and time field. So we cannot do that operation. So on functions, let's convert that field to a date value. So let's select the date value and put the expression here. And now let's go and check the syntax. So now both are date fields, not date and time field. So that's why it is working now. So this result is going to give us days, but you can also convert that to hours, minutes, depends on what you want, but in this case we need days. Let's click next. Click next, and here you can set up the permissions for this specific field based on profiles and also the layouts. Just select the options based on what you need. So now that we refresh the page, we will need to select the report again. So here let's go and select the incident object. Incidents, click continue. So now the first thing that we need to do again is to clear out all the filters. And here let's select created date, all time, incident created date. So here is the field, incident created date. Click apply. And now we can add all the fields that we want. Let's expand this window, and here let's add the filter that we had before, which is state open equals true, which means all the instance and server requests that are opening. And for the filter, I think that I didn't click applied, so let's select all incidents and apply again. Okay, so now we are ready to start adding fields. So the first one that I'm gonna add is staff, the staff field, to see who has that particular ticket. And now the open date. I mean, you can add more fields as you need. And now we are ready to add the custom formula field that we created. So you can see here the number of days that the ticket has been opened. So now on filters, we need to filter by days. In this case, we need to select greater than, which is what we were requested, so 30 days, and let's click apply. So we'll only see tickets greater than 30 days. So now the last thing that we need to do is to group by staff. So let's go to the outline tab, and here add group. So let's search for staff. And now you can see that we group by staff, so we can see how many tickets and staff member has assigned and has been opened for more than 30 days. So now we are ready to save this report. So at the top right, you will see a drop down menu. Let's click on save. Provide a name for this report, and also we have to save it on a folder. In this case, I'm gonna select a public folder, so everyone can have access to the report. Select the folder and click save. So now the report has been successfully saved. So now let's go and create the next report. So for the next report that we have to create is close tickets for each staff and queue for the current quarter. So it means that we need to create two different reports. One is going to be for staff members and the other one for queues. So let's go to new report and select the incident object. Continue, and here let's clear out the filters. So let's put all incidents, click apply. And then the next thing that I would like to do is to put the filter, which is state open equals false, to get all the closed tickets that are in the org. Again, this is for incidents and service requests. You can create another filter just to select service requests or incidents, but it needs to be done for the same object, in this case incidents. So for the filter by close date, we can select the current queue. So let's scroll down and select current quarter. Here we can see the time frame, and let's click apply. So now we are ready to add more fields. In this case, I'm gonna add the staff field. So let's search for staff and double click. Okay, and now let's group by staff member so we can see a trend there. So staff, okay, and now let's click run to check the entire data. Okay, here we can see how many tickets and a specific staff member closed during the current quarter. Let's provide a name for this report, and let's save it on a public folder so everyone can have access to it. Let's click save. Okay, the report has been successfully saved. So now we are ready to create the next report. So let's go again to the report staff, new report, get the incident object, click continue, and here let's clear out the filters. So let's go and select all incident. For close date, let's select the current quarter, click apply. So now let's create the filter for state open equals false, just to show up close incidents and service requests. And let's add the queue, double click, and let's group by queue. Double click on queue, and now we are ready to run the report and see the final results. So here you can see the first one, those two tickets were closed without a queue. You can create a validation rule just to avoid someone closes the ticket without selecting the queue first. And this is the final result of the report that we created. Let's go and create the next one. But before creating the next one, let's save the report. Let's provide a name for this report, and remember that we need to save this report. It depends on what you need, but in this case I'm saving all the reports on the public folder report so everyone can have access to it. Let's click save, and it was successfully saved. So the next report is current open tickets for each staff member. So you already know the process, but let's do it again. Let's go to report staff, new report. We need to find the incident object, continue, and here let's change the filters as we need. In this case, I'm going to select all incidents, and then incident created date all time, because I want all the open cases, tickets. Sorry, I didn't change this to all incidents. I didn't click apply, so let's do it again. Okay, so now let's create the filter for state open equals true, just to show up only the open tickets. Okay, so now let's go to fields, and we are ready to add all the fields that we need. In this case, I'm gonna add the staff, which is what we need, and I'm gonna add the status so we can make sure what is the current status of those incidents or service requests. Let's group by staff, run report, and this way we can see all the open tickets for each staff member. So now let's click on save report, provide a name, and again you can save it on a specific folder. In this case, I'm saving everything on the public report so everyone can have access. Click save, and it was successful. So now for the last report that we need to create, which is instance or service request pending for approval. So in this case, there is no existing report that we can take. Salesforce is giving us a workaround that I'm going to show you. Basically is to create a report type, and a report type is like a template where you can combine different objects. So now let me show you how you can create the report that we need for the pending approval. So now let's go to setup, and on setup let's type report type in order to find the option. Select report types, continue, and let's click on new custom report type, and here we need to select the process instance object. Okay, and now let's provide a name for this report. In this case, I'm going to name it pending approval. It's up to you. Let's put a description for this report type, and we need to save it on a folder on the report section. In this case, I'm going to select the others report and deploy. Okay, so here for the object A, we need to select process instance name, and I'm going to select the second option. A records may contain or not contains related records from B. Okay, and now let's go to the reports again, and we should be able to see the custom report type that we created. And let's type pending approval. That's the name that we provided. Let's click continue, and now let's change the filters. In this case, all process instance, which is okay. And here I'm going to change this to submitted date all time, so I can get all the process that is in my org right now. And here you can start adding some of the fields that are available. In this case, the approval process name. Also, I'm going to add the record name. Also, I can add different fields that you can see here, like the pending step name, and more fields that you can see that are available. But in this case, I would like to remove the pending step name. I just want to give the record name and the approval process name. So let's click on this icon and click remove column, and now we are ready to run the report, which basically says that I have 3 records that are pending for approval, which is correct. I already checked that in my org. And let's click save, and let's provide a name for this report. In this case, I'm gonna just keep pending approval report, and again I'm gonna save it on the public folder report. Click save. Okay, so now we have created all the reports that we need. So now we can proceed and build the dashboards for each report. So before creating the dashboard, I would like to show you a little bit more the user interface for Reportsin Lightning experience. As you can see here, there are different options. Here are some of the folders that you can select, or you can navigate through and see the existing reports. You can also create new folders. Actually, let's create a new folder. I'm gonna just name it test. Click save. And now under search, now that the folder has been created, you can use the search to type test, and it will bring you the report, the folder, but there is no reports in that folder because we haven't created a report and put it in that folder, or moving a report from another folder to test. That's something that we can also do. Let's click on new report, and I'm going to select the same one that we were working with, which is the incident object. So on the search, let's go and type incidents, and here I would like to give you a little bit more of background of these features. As you can see here, you can see the properties, which is the report name, where you want to save it. Also here you can update the values when you are dragging and dropping columns. So I recommend you to have that one checked always. Here on the filters, you can add more filters. Basically, this is a list of all the available fields on the instance object. If you create a report for task, you will see the available fields for task that are in the task object. Here you already know how to work with all those filters. This is how you can group by a specific field that is on the instance object. Here also you can add more columns. We will do another webinar in order to create or use advanced functions, formulas, bucket columns, bucket fields, so you can do your reports and dashboards like a pro. So right now we are doing something easy, but the next webinar related to reports and dashboard will include more advanced functions. So on the left side you will see a table with all the available fields that belongs to the instance object that you can add as a column and see the value for that specific field for each record. And we can also create a formula field, but it's not available yet, so I would like to show you how you can enable that option and why it is not enabled right now. So let me just customize this report a little bit. Let's change this to all incidents, and for the time frame, let me select created date all time. Actually, you can customize this and put a range, but in this case let me change it back to all time and click apply. Let me add a couple of fields to the report, such as staff. Double click, and also let me add the status. And now let's do a group by staff. And now, as you can see, create formula is now enabled. This is something that you can create to improve your reports, to have better metrics. It depends on what you want to achieve and which is the report that you want. But we can see that on a different webinar for more advanced options. And something important to mention here is that you can add more columns. For example, I'm gonna add the queue. It will looks kind of weird because I'm just selecting random data, but for some kind of reports you need to create something like this so the data can make more sense. But we will be creating more advanced reports in future in the next webinar related to reports and dashboards. Right now we are only creating basic reports so you can get familiar with the new interface in Lightning experience. So now we are ready to go and create our dashboard. So let's go to the dashboard tab. Okay, let's click discard. And now this is the view for dashboard. Let's click on new dashboard. Let's provide a name. In this case, this was something that the support director asked us to do. So a dashboard with all the information that he needs. Here we can select the folder where this dashboard is going to be saved. We can create a specific folder and then share the same with the support director. But in this case, I'm gonna just put it on the private folder. So here, let's click on add component, and the first dashboard that I want to create is the first report we created, which is open tickets greater than 30 days per staff member. Here you can see all the available options that we have in order to select a chart. In this case, I'm going to select the vertical chart, but you can see many options that are available here. The ones that are disabled, it means that based on the data that is on the report, we cannot create those kind of charts. You can see that all the data was predefined based on how we created the report. In this case, you can see the total amount of days for all the assigned tickets for each staff member, but we don't want that. So let's move and change some of the values that is on this report. If you scroll down, you will see the values that you can modify in this case. x-axis staff, and then y-axis the record count. So it means that for each staff member we have that number of open tickets. You can see also another settings that you can modify for this particular dashboard. You can add a name, you can add more details for this dashboard, but in this case I'm gonna just select the data that I want to show and the chart. So let's click add, and now we are ready to go and add the other dashboards as we need. So now let's select the next report, and I'm gonna just select the vertical bar just to keep the same format, but you can select any chart that is available on this list. I check the values, all looks good. Let's click add the next dashboard, in this case close tickets by Q on the current quarter. I'm going to select the vertical chart. You can see at the bottom on the x-axis the Q names, and also on the y-axis all the total number of records. Let's click add, and you can move the dashboards between the layout. That's something pretty cool. And now let's add the next report. Select a chart. I'm going to select something different this time, and let's click add. The data looks good, and let's move it. And now let's add the last dashboard, which is the pending approval report. Okay, as you can see, based on the report that I created, which was like a simple report without grouping anything, so this is the only available option that I have to select as a chart. Here you can see the things that you can modify for this dashboard. I'm going to click add, and basically I'm going to see this particular dashboard as a list, which is fine. Something important to mention is if you go to the gear icon, you will see some of the properties for this dashboard. What is important is view dashboard as me, another person, the dashboard viewer. So you need to be very careful with this, because if you select the dashboard viewer, for example, probably the user A will see some data, and then the user B another data, because both have different access for the incident record. I mean, they are not an admin. As an admin, you have full access to the incident object, and also based on the level of access that you provide to your users. But in case someone sees like less record than another user, probably you need to go and check this setting, because they don't have the same rights for the incident object. So you need to be very careful with the option that you select for the dashboard viewer. So now we can click save, and just to confirm that everything is up and running, let's go again to dashboards. Let's open the dashboard that we just created. Let's wait for the data to load. Okay, all looks good, and you can click refresh just to get the most recent data. You can click refresh anytime just to get the data that you need. But this is how it looks like. It looks good based on the requirements. BMC does have some troubleshooting guides that you can find in our support central. Under troubleshooting, you can filter by the product, in this case BMC Helix Remedyforce. You can also search for a specific error message. Probably you will find a document that might help you to solve your issue. Basically, we create all of our documents, all of our knowledge base based on the common raised support issues. So probably you will find something that might help you to fix or answer the question that you have. So now I would like to explain you two of the most common issues that we get related to reports and dashboards. So the first one is user cannot see a specific report. The cause it is because user does not have access to the report, and the solution is admin needs to provide access to a report folder. So now let me show you in Salesforce how it looks like. So let's go to the org and let's go to the reports tab. And what we are going to do is we are going to take one of the reports that we created. In this case, as you can see, it is on the public folder report. And let's move this specific report to the custom folder that we created. If we click move, and then let's select the test folder. Okay, double click and select folder. And now this report, as you can see, changed to the test folder. We can go to all folders and open test. Okay, you can see that the report is now here. So now you can see the share option. It means that we can provide access to specific people to check the reports that are on that folder. So let's go to setup. I want to show you something there, so you can see that other users cannot see that specific folder because we haven't provided access yet. So here, let's go to the user object, select users, and we're gonna log in as someone. Okay, the report is pending approval request. Okay, it looks like I don't have the option to log in as any user in my org. Let's enable that feature. So if we go to the quick find, as you can see, there is no option to log in. So let's go to the quick find and type login, and login access policies. Let's check this checkbox so an admin can log in as any user in the org. Save, and now we can go back to users, and now we can log in as Emma. Now let's go to the reports tab and let's try to search for that specific report. Okay, let's go to all reports and see if we can see the pending approval report, which is not here. And let's search for the folder, which we cannot see it because we don't have access yet as this user. And now let's go back to our account as an admin. So let's go to the reports tab as an admin, and now let's go to the folder that we created, which is test, and let's click edit to edit the permissions for this particular folder. Here at the bottom we can see who have access to this report. In this case it's just me, the admin of the org. Let's try to search for Emma, but there is no results. So let's add her as a viewer. Click on share, and now you will see it at the bottom of the list that she has view access. So now let's go and log in again as Emma. So now she should be able to see the report as a viewer and also the folder because now she have access to it. So let's go to users again on the quick find. And let's click login as Emma. Go to the reports tab. And now let's go to find the folder test. Okay, here's the folder, and now I'm able to see the report. Click on the report and I can see all the data. Yes, perfect. So as you can see, it works. So basically you just need to provide access to a report to the people who need the access. So now let's move on to the next common issue, which is user cannot see all the records on the report. And the cause is because the user created the report with default filters. We have done this several times during this webinar, but this is something that you need to take care of. And then the solution will be modify the report filters as needed. So on the report filter section, you need to make sure these filters apply to the criteria that you need. Otherwise, that could be the reason you see less records. So here are some of the articles that you can check if you want to get more information related to reports, report types, or dashboards. So during this webinar, we were able to create Reportsin Lightning experience. We also created a report type. In this case, it was related to the pending approval of records on the org. We also created and configured dashboards in Lightning experience. You could see that it is extremely easy. You just need to create a report and then you can easily create a dashboard so you can check the data in real time. We also saw all the available options for the different charts that we have on dashboards. It is a powerful tool for reporting. In future webinars, we will see how we can implement formulas on a report, how we can create more advanced reports with more data. We have a lot of potential for these features. Salesforce has a dedicated model for reporting dashboards that might help you to improve your business. Anyway, I hope you liked this webinar. Remember that this webinar is going to be available in our YouTube channel after this session in case you need to review it again. If you have any question or problem, please contact technical support via web, phone, or email. And remember to follow us in all our social media, VMC communities, Facebook, or Twitter. Thanks for watching this webinar about reports and dashboards best practices. Stay tuned for the next one.